with Shedeur Sanders absolutely cooking at practice, while Dillon Gabriel melts down like a microwave burrito. And somehow, this team is still fumbling the bag. It's a closed Browns practice, not open to the public, not televised, just reps, drills, and evaluation. Your typical preseason setup. But whispers start leaking. First on Twitter, then in group chats, then in not-so-accidental leaks to insiders. Yo, Shedeur just dropped a dime down the sideline. Back foot, pocket collapsing. Toe tap, whole defense froze. Another report comes in. Dillon Gabriel missed 3 straight short throws in 7 on 7S. Then airmailed a screen into a linebacker's helmet.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
You can almost feel the tension crackling through Berea like static electricity. Coaches are whispering. Position groups are side-eyeing each other. Some of the veterans, they've seen this movie before. It never ends well, because what's happening isn't just a practice anomaly. It's a narrative shift. And in Cleveland, that kind of shift sends shockwaves through the building. Shedeur Sanders came into this franchise with a target on his back. Late round pick, media sensation, already a Nike darling before taking a single NFL snap. The last thing the Browns wanted was for him to come in and actually start balling. But now he is. And the front office? They look stunned. Because here's the thing about Shedeur. He's not supposed to be this ready. He's not supposed to command the field this early. He's not supposed to look like the most composed quarterback in a room. That include the national title winner and a veteran or 2 collecting checks. But that's exactly what's happening. And suddenly, every coach, scout, and coordinator who thought they had the plan figured out is starting to sweat. Now, let's talk about Dillon Gabriel. Poor guy. He came in hyped. Oklahoma pedigree. Lefty zip. People were calling him sneaky polished. But once the lights came on, even the practice lights, it's been misfire after misfire. You can see the frustration. The footwork sloppy. The timing is off. And worse, the confidence is bleeding. He's overthinking. Second-guessing. He's not reacting, he's surviving. Meanwhile, Shedeur? He's calm. Smooth. Throwing dots like he's been in the league for 3 years. Taking command in huddles. Talking trash after completions. Owning the moment. So why, exactly, is he still splitting reps with Gabriel like it's a 50-50 battle? That's the million-dollar question. Or maybe the multi-million-dollar mistake. Because let's be real, this isn't just about practice performance. This is about organizational fear. The Browns have been here before. Dozens of times. A talented young quarterback flashes. Shows promise. And the team panics. Not because they're unsure, but because they are sure. And it scares them. Because developing a star, that means making a decision. It means committing. It means not hedging your bets with more scouting trips and QB whisper campaigns and mysterious veteran packages. And right now, Cleveland isn't ready to commit to Shedeur Sanders. Let's zoom out. Reports are already surfacing that the Browns front office has been very active on the college scouting circuit. Front row seats at Texas. Eyes on Carson Beck. Whispers about next year's class being deeper. It's not subtle. They're already shopping for quarterbacks like Shedeur, and Gabriel haven't even unpacked their cleats yet. What kind of message does that send? To the players? It's clear you're expendable. To the fans? Don't get too attached. To the league? We have no idea what we're doing. And let's not forget, this isn't new for the Browns. Since 1999, they've run through more quarterbacks than most franchises have Gatorade flavors. They don't develop. They discard. And that's what makes the situation so maddening. Because for once, finally, they might actually have a QB who can grow into something special. Someone with poise, pocket presence, and brand gravity. But instead of building around him, they're already planning his exit. It's like discovering gold in your backyard and then renting a metal detector to go dig somewhere else. And the fans? Oh, they see it. They're not fooled by the GM speak about competition and depth charts. They know when something's off. And right now, it feels off. You can feel the frustration bubbling online. Every practice clip of Shadur throwing a laser gets clipped, reposted, and followed by 300 comments that all say the same thing. Why isn't this guy starting? And they're right to ask. Because reps are currency in the NFL. And Shadur? He's not getting enough. Not with the first team. Not with the scripted drives. Not with the urgency you'd expect for someone showing this much upside. Meanwhile, Gabriel is still getting the same amount of work and squandering it. At what point does fair competition become willful ignorance? But let's get real for a second. This isn't just about who throws the prettiest spiral or who has the fastest 40 time. This is about culture. And the Browns' culture? It's cracked, not broken beyond repair, but fractured in all the subtle, insidious ways that derail promising players before they ever get a shot. It's the lack of clarity, the vague feedback, the we're evaluating everything approach that really just means we're afraid to choose. And that fear, it kills development. Players don't thrive in chaos. They thrive in structure, in trust, in being told, you're the guy, we believe in you. Go grow into that. But Cleveland has built a system where QBs are always one bad rep away from being ghosted, where scouting departments are already planning your replacement before your rookie haircut has grown out. And that's what makes this Shadur situation so dangerous. Not for the Browns' image, but for their future. Because if they blow this, if they fumble a young, poised, dynamic quarterback again, they're not just wasting a draft pick. They're setting fire to their own credibility. And Shadur, he sees it. He may not say it. He's polished, media trained. He'll smile and say he's focused on getting better every day. But make no mistake, he knows what's going on. You think he doesn't feel the tension in the reps? You think he doesn't hear the whispers about future draft classes? You think he doesn't notice when he throws a perfect drive and the coaches barely react? Of course he does. But here's the thing that makes him dangerous. He doesn't flinch. He just keeps throwing lasers, keeps commanding the huddle, keeps proving every single practice that he's ready. So now the pressure isn't on him. It's on them. The coaches, the scouts, the front office. Are you going to see what's in front of you? Or are you going to repeat the same mistakes that turned your franchise into a punchline? Because Shadur's not going to wait forever. And if Cleveland keeps messing around with mixed signals and scouting road trips and QB battles that aren't really battles, they might wake up one day and realize their franchise quarterback packed his bags and went somewhere that actually wanted him. This is a turning point. You can feel it. The Browns are standing at the edge of two roads. One leads to yet another lost season. A quarterback room in shambles. A locker room that stopped believing. A fan base that's finally checked out for good. The other? It leads to something real. Something sustainable. A future that starts now. With a young quarterback who's earned his shot. Not because of hype, but because he delivered. So here's the bottom line. Shadur Sanders destroyed Dillon Gabriel at practice. Period. The tape doesn't lie. The players know it. The coaches feel it. And now, the Browns have a choice. Do what they always do. Or finally break the cycle. Before it's too late. This is where things get interesting. Not because Shadur Sanders torched Dillon Gabriel at practice again, but because what happens next will tell you everything about who the Cleveland Browns really are. See, in the NFL, practice isn't just about drills. It's not just about installing plays or getting reps in. It's about hierarchy, status, momentum. And right now, Shadur has all of it. He's won over teammates. He's rattled the depth chart. He's becoming undeniable. And yet, he's still on the outside looking in. Which begs the question, what exactly are the Browns waiting for? A permission slip from the front office? A prophecy from a scout? A spreadsheet from analytics confirming what's playing out in real time? Or, more realistically, are they just afraid? Because that's the unspoken truth behind all of this. Fear. The Browns don't know how to handle a good thing. They don't trust themselves to recognize when it's finally right in front of them. So instead of leaning in, they hesitate. Instead of building around Shadur, they build an exit strategy. And instead of making a move, they stall in true Browns fashion. Let's be clear, this isn't about disrespecting Dillon Gabriel. He's not a villain. He's a rookie trying to find his footing in a chaotic system that would break most players. But the truth is, this job doesn't belong to him right now. Not based on what we've seen. Not based on anything real. And the longer the Browns pretend this is an even competition, the more they risk creating an unfixable fracture. Not just between the quarterbacks, but between the team and the truth. Because players, they always know. And right now, they're watching Shedeur run the show at practice, only to be shuffled back down the depth chart like it never happened. That kills locker rooms. That drains trust. That sends a message louder than any speech from the head coach. Performance doesn't matter here. Politics do. And that's where things start to get toxic. Now, let's talk about the front office again. Because this isn't just bad quarterback management. It's a full-blown identity crisis. You've got scouts at SEC games. GMs whispering to insiders about next year's class. 2 first-round picks in their back pocket, like escape hatches. It's not a quarterback room. It's a chessboard. And Shedeur? He's the knight. No one expected to make it past midfield. And that's the problem. The Browns didn't plan for him to be good this fast. They weren't ready. They had a script. Draft Shedeur late. Treat him like a project. Maybe flip him later. Something safe. Something controlled. But now, he's blowing that script to pieces. He's outperforming expectations before they even pulled the trigger on their plan B. And instead of leaning in, they're panicking. Because the front office doesn't know how to pivot when someone over-delivers. They only know how to spin. And so, instead of rallying around Shedeur, they're quietly undermining him, pretending the scouting trips are routine, acting like the performance gap in practice is contextual, throwing around buzzwords like raw and system fit, while he's out there running circles around their golden boy. It's not just insulting, it's self-sabotage, because this could have been their moment. Their clean break from the cursed QB carousel. Their signal to the league that the Browns finally get it. Instead, it's deja vu. Again, and let's not forget the fans. Because Cleveland fans aren't dumb. They know dysfunction when they see it. They've lived through more false starts and broken promises than most fan bases can imagine. You don't have to tell them what it looks like when the team is about to screw up again. They can feel it in their bones. They see Shedeur make the throw. They see the chemistry with the receivers. They see the offense clicking, finally clicking, and then they hear the coaches mumble something about more reps needed for evaluation. They know what that means. It means he's being benched politically, not because he failed. It means they're trying to talk themselves out of the right decision. And they're sick of it. But here's where the story twists again. Because Shedeur Sanders, he's not playing their game. He's not complaining to the media. He's not throwing shade on social. He's not walking off the field with an attitude. He's walking back to the huddle, fixing his visor, and torching the defense on the very next snap. He's letting the film speak. He's betting on the one thing Cleveland can't spin: results. And when a guy puts that much pressure on the franchise just by doing his job better than expected, you don't have a QB battle. You have a reckoning. Here's what happens next. At some point, Kevin Stefanski's going to have to look the team in the eye and explain why their best quarterback isn't getting the shot he's earned. Why Dillon Gabriel, despite back-to-back shaky weeks, is still in the rotation. Why the front office is already checking out of the season before it starts. He's going to have to explain that. And it's not going to go well. Because every rep they steal from Shedeur at this point, it's not development, it's denial. And that denial is going to cost them. Maybe not today. Maybe not even this season. But eventually, they'll look back and realize this was a turning point. This was the moment they could have changed the story, could have flipped the script, could have let the kid lead. But they didn't. They waited. They hedged. They scouted someone else. And by the time they realized what they had, he was already gone. Because here's the thing people don't get about Shedeur Sanders. He doesn't need the Browns. He doesn't need any team that's going to treat him like a plan B with a side of merch sales. He's not some grateful late rounder, just happy to be here. He's a quarterback with leverage, brand leverage, media leverage, culture leverage. He can leave and still win. You can't say that about many rookies, but with Shedeur, it's reality. And the Browns? They're staring down the barrel of that reality right now and still pretending like they've got time. They don't. So this is the moment, the fork in the road. Shedeur Sanders has given them every reason to believe. He's earned the shot. He's won the locker room. He's made the throws. He's handled the politics. Now it's on the Browns. Are they going to break the cycle? Or are they going to bury yet another quarterback under the weight of their own dysfunction? Because the league is watching. The locker room is watching. And Shedeur? He's just warming up. If you thought Shedeur Sanders' moment at Browns practice was just some cute preseason headline, you're not paying attention. This isn't just a quarterback story. It's a franchise-defining crossroads disguised as a routine QB competition. And at the center of it, a young man who has everything to gain, nothing to lose, and all the leverage in the world. The Browns, on the other hand, they're standing there like a waiter trying to take everyone's order while the kitchen's already on fire. Let's talk about what this actually means for Cleveland. Not just right now, but in the big picture. Because if you're a team like the Browns, a franchise with a decade-plus-long resume of quarterback heartbreak, panic picks, media circus press conferences, and a rotating carousel of this guy might be the one, you don't get many clean slates. You don't get a lot of redemption arcs. But here it is, wrapped in a headband, throwing bombs on a Thursday, commanding a huddle like he's been doing this since the 90s. And if they miss it, if they fumble this, you can forget rebuilding. You can forget next season. You can forget we'll get it right eventually. Because this is the moment. And they either lean into it, or they go right back to the Cleveland Browns we all know. The one ESPN jokes about. The one that drafts guys just to ruin them. The one that takes promise and turns it into purgatory. Let's not dance around it. The reason Shedeur Sanders isn't the clear QB1 right now has nothing to do with talent. It's about control. The front office didn't discover Shedeur. He wasn't one of their prized finds. He wasn't some obscure sleeper pick who owes his rise to their genius scouting staff. He came in hot, already known, already branded, already loved. And that scares them, because they can't shape him. They can't contain him. They can't handle him the way they've tried to handle every other QB. So instead of celebrating what they've got, they treat him like a threat to their process. But let's be honest. What process? What results has that process given you? Where's the winning culture? Where's the franchise quarterback? Where's the evidence that any of this works? Because from the outside, it looks like they're trying to protect a structure that's never actually produced anything worth protecting. Now, let's talk about how the rest of the league is looking at this. You think Jerry Jones doesn't have binoculars pointed straight at Berea? You think John Lynch isn't checking in? You think Sean Payton doesn't know exactly how many snaps Shedeur's getting? Don't be naive. Every GM in the NFL has a folder labeled Sanders, Shedeur, Contingency Plan. Because here's the thing. Shedeur fits the modern NFL. He checks every box. Poised under pressure? Check. Accurate on the move? Check. Smart with progressions? Check. Media ready? Oh, absolutely check. But most importantly, he's got that thing you can't coach. The unshakable energy. The give me the ball instinct. The calm in the eye of the storm. It's not cockiness. It's clarity. And it makes everyone around him believe. The Browns? They're squinting at spreadsheets trying to project upside. Other teams? They're watching the film and asking, how do we get this guy out of Cleveland? Because if the Browns really let this thing slip away, if they hold back Shedeur until the locker room revolts or the fans go nuclear on Twitter, you better believe the rest of the league will be lining up with phone calls, trade offers, PR-ready narratives. We believe in him sound bites, the works. And if Shedeur does walk, if they lose him without giving him a real shot, they'll be the laughingstock of the league. Again, except this time, it'll sting worse, because the guy they lost will go win somewhere else. Somewhere that wanted him. Now let's talk about the reps, because reps are currency in the NFL. Every rep tells a story. And right now, Shedeur is getting scraps. He's not getting the clean looks with the ones. He's not getting the scripted drives meant to showcase his strengths. He's getting the back half reps, the broken plays, the make something out of nothing scenarios. And yet, he's still shining. That should be enough. That should be enough. But instead of adjusting the reps to reflect reality, the Browns are doing mental gymnastics, trying to keep the illusion of a competition alive. You know what that tells us? It tells us they're not just unsure, they're scared. Scared to make a decision. Scared to admit the guy they thought was a long-term backup might be their future. Scared to commit, period. And what about Dillon Gabriel? Here's the honest truth. He's not ready. It's not his fault, necessarily. The system isn't doing him any favors. But his footwork's shaky. His timing is inconsistent. He looks like a rookie trying to survive, not a leader about to elevate a team. And that's okay. He can still develop. He can still grow. But he should not be getting equal treatment in practice reps when the results on the field tell a very different story. This is the problem with the everyone gets a chance mentality. When you don't actually mean it, it creates chaos. It breeds resentment. It tells the team that what happens on the field doesn't matter. And in a locker room filled with professionals who work their entire lives for one shot at greatness, nothing kills morale faster than watching politics override performance. Shedeur knows this, by the way. He knows exactly where he stands. He knows the stats, the film, the body language, the buzz, but he's not complaining, not stirring the pot, not talking to agents about leaking trade rumors, not doing cryptic tweets or liking shade on Instagram. He's just working, throwing, leading, winning the room. And the Browns? They're blowing it. Every practice that goes by without giving them the keys is another brick in the wall between this team and the future they could have. Because let's be clear, Shedeur Sanders isn't just a good rookie. He's a catalyst. He changes things. Culture, expectations, standards. He's the kind of guy who makes teams believe they can win again. The kind of guy who makes rookies work harder and veterans stick around. The kind of guy who makes the national media say, something's happening in Cleveland, but only if you let him lead. So what's next? At some point, someone in that building, GM, head coach, offensive coordinator, is going to have to look at themselves in the mirror and decide, do we keep pretending this is close? Or do we do what everyone in the building already knows is right? Because Shedeur Sanders has nothing left to prove at practice. He's passed every test. He's silenced every doubt. And the only thing left standing between him and the starting job is fear. Not his fear. Theirs. The Browns can end that fear tomorrow. They can walk into that locker room and say, he's the guy. Let's ride. They can stop scouting quarterbacks who haven't played a down of NFL football and start building around the one who's already here. They can do something this franchise hasn't done in decades. Make the right call. And if they don't, if they wait too long, if they hedge and hide and hope he doesn't notice, well, someone else will. And when Shedeur Sanders becomes the face of another franchise, when he's starring in national commercials and playoff games and post-game podium moments that could have been theirs, they'll have no one to blame but themselves. Because they had the guy. And they blinked. Again.